words about this place, Cascina Tribuzza. Actually, this place has just been renovated for Expo 2015, but actually before it was an ancient farmhouse, and the idea is to use this place to host the civil society inside Expo Milan. Why civil society as a place inside Expo? The idea is to show the contribution made by all these organizations in addressing major problems of humankind. So I think it's a special opportunity, and I'm very glad today to have the opportunity to be here and to be here with these such estimated delegates and speakers. And I would like to introduce them, starting from Emma Desiree Ciabure Galasso, which is the national president of JCI Italy. We have Xavier Longan from United Nations Development Program. Raffaele Cattani, who is the president of Lombardy Region Council. We have Luca Donelli, responsible for Community and International Affairs of Young Industrials in Lombardia. Charlotte Moller-Bystad. She is the International Vice President of Junior Chamber International. We have Mr. Kentaro Arada, who has been 2011 International President of JCI and is actual Chairman of JCI Foundation. Chiara Milani, she is the 2013 International President of JCI and Honorary Chairman of the celebration, 100 years celebration of JCI. And lastly, Ismail Aznader, who is the 2015 International President of JCI. As I said, main theme of this talk today is social responsibility. We are going to talk about individual social responsibility and corporate social responsibility. Being socially responsible means that people and organizations must behave ethically and with sensitivity towards social, cultural, economic, and environmental issues. Striving for social responsibility helps individuals, organizations, and governments have a positive impact on development, business, and society, with a positive contribution to bottom-line results. So we are talking about positive impact. Well, I just can read there 100 years of impact. So I believe that JCI has a lot to say about impact, but not only JCI. Also, I think our other speakers can bring an important contribution to this talk. So I would like to start inviting Emma Desiree Ciabure Galasso, the national president of JCI Italy, to talk us a little bit more about what JCI Italy is doing during this year for improving social responsibility in Italy. And I know that the motto of JCI Italy for this year is Learn by JCI. What does it mean?
Good afternoon, everybody. I speak in Italian, I prefer, sorry. Buon pomeriggio a tutti, ben intervenuti, grazie di essere qui, tutti i nostri keynote speakers, Presidente mondiale, Past President mondiali, Presidente del Consiglio e United Nations, e Vicepresidente. Allora, Learn by JCI. Learn by JCI è il motto, il mio motto di quest'anno. Perché? Perché Learn è un po' la mia mission individual. Io sono un insegnante, insegno economia alle superiori, ho lasciato la parte economica hard della revisione contabile, perché la mia missione e quindi la mia predisposizione verso gli altri era proprio quella di voler un mondo migliore, di volere un individuo migliore. Ed è per questo che mi sono staccata dal business e ho deciso di continuare, come dicono i miei ragazzi a scuola, quando guardano su Google, perché googlano, no? Subito, e vedono l'insegnante giovane e dicono: prof, ma lei cosa ci fa a scuola? Perché è qui? No, la domanda è sbagliata. La domanda è: voi siete la mia missione. Io non sono potuta andare in giro, non sono un prete, ma la mia missione siete voi. Siete voi, perché se vogliamo una società migliore dobbiamo partire dall'individuo, dobbiamo partire dalla nuova generazione. Io sono anche mamma e ho deciso di intraprendere la crescita personale di JCI ancora di più, anche se difficile, perché comporta tempo, comporta fatica in termini di tempo che si sottrae alla famiglia, perché credo proprio nel cuore, nel nostro credo della JCI, che se vogliamo qualcosa di migliore, se vogliamo impattare in modo positivo per migliorare il nostro futuro, è partire dall'individuo. Ed è per questo che quest'anno io mi sono voluta concentrare sull'individuo, e nello slogan iniziale, quando mi sono candidata, ho utilizzato la I di JCI come I di individuo, I, io. E quindi ho creato JCI con la I all'interno, come se fosse un cuore, e all'interno I di individuo. Quindi la responsabilità individuale, ciò che si viene tramandata dalla famiglia, viene tramandata nella scuola, viene tramandata nella società, deve essere ripresa. Deve essere veramente ripresa, deve essere portata avanti, perché dobbiamo partire da noi stessi. Se noi, ognuno di noi, fa qualcosa di buono, se ognuno di noi fa il meglio e con dei fini nobili, allora uno, insieme a tanti, possono davvero cambiare. È per questo che ho scelto l'erba JCI.
Grazie Anna, thank you Anna. So let's try to better understand what JCI is doing to make a positive impact. And you may have seen, many of you are JCI members, so already know it, that JCI is affiliated to United Nations. Talking about United Nations, here we have a representative from UNDP, United Nations Development Program. UNDP works in more than 170 countries and territories, helping to achieve the eradication of poverty and the reduction of inequalities and exclusion. Here we have also a podium from UN. There is a logo from United Nations, and I'm sure that Xavier is going to tell us why we have the honor to have this podium here. So please, Xavier.
Good afternoon, distinguished co-panelists, JCI leadership, colleagues from civil society, local government representatives. I was just going to say, you know, my son, he's 5, he wants to be Messi, and of course, you know, I can't blame him, I want to be Messi myself. But, you know, I think if Messi doesn't work out, I want him to be a toy winner. Because I was really, really inspired by the previous session. I think JCI is what social responsibility is all about. JCI brings to the table the energy, the inspiration, the will to make a change, the commitment to make a change, the commitment to take action, and it's basically the drive to make the world a better place. I think those ingredients are absolutely critical for the success of the next development agenda, which, as some of you probably know, is being currently discussed in the United Nations. I mean, member states, all the member states from the United Nations, with inputs from civil society, from citizens, are building the development agenda for the next 15 years. And this has a lot to do with social responsibility. This is an agenda that affects us all. We're all part of this agenda, and we all need to have a role, need to play a role in the success in the implementation of this next agenda. But let me take a step back. We have had the opportunity as citizens to have a role already in the building of this new global development agenda. We have been responsible for the priorities that have been included in this new agenda. And I just wanted to talk today a little bit about that, about the global conversation that has been taking place in the last few years to build this new agenda. I want to tell you where we are now on this. And also I want to suggest actions that can be taken even before the agenda is agreed in a summit that will take place in the UN in New York this coming September. Next slide. This is the call that the UN Secretary General made in 2011. He told us, particularly in the UN system, that he wanted this new global agenda to be the most inclusive agenda that the world has ever seen. So basically, he prompted us in the United Nations to go out there and ask people what their priorities are for the next agenda. What do you care about? What does your family care about? What are the issues that you feel most strongly about? What are your concerns? So this was the message from the Secretary General. He said, we're going to build an agenda with the inputs from stakeholders and from citizens themselves. So then we have to think how to do that. So basically the Secretary General told us the what, but we need we have to think about the how. And that's how we came up with what we call the My World Survey, which I think a lot of you are familiar with already. But let me just tell you a couple or three facts about that. Next slide. Well, the My World Survey is a survey that includes 16 priorities, 16 themes. Next slide, please. It includes 16 themes, out of which people are asked to select 6, which are the 6 priorities that matter most to them and to their families. Now we went out there with this survey. We disseminated the survey online, offline, via SMS means, and we brought this together. Next slide. Can we go back? I think we just jumped. Did we jump a couple of slides? Back? We're missing 1 or 2 slides, but that's totally fine. So we put together the My World Survey, and we started working with partners all over the world. And in that context, JCI has been a critical partner to get this out there. The UN doesn't have the sort of capacity to reach out to citizens everywhere in all the countries, to local communities, to groups around the world. So we had to work with partners everywhere. And as I said, JCI was a critical partner there to reach out to citizens at the local level and to get their voices and their priorities. Now this is basically what you're seeing on the screen is basically the cycle of the survey. So we launched this survey, we distributed that, we gathered voices, we gathered also the data, and I'll talk about this in a minute. And of course the goal of all this exercise was to have an impact on the agenda. So we wanted to be impacting directly, we wanted to inform the agenda, to inform the discussions at the United Nations, to inform the dialogue that member states were having about the next development agenda. And this we did through the data. So we've put together real-time data. That's, yeah, actually this is what I talked about that earlier. Okay, let me go back. Yeah, I'll talk about the data in a minute. Let me go back to the partnership with JCI because that's precisely the slide that I wanted to bring up earlier. I don't know what happened, it's, the slides got mixed up somewhere. So with JCI, we cemented a partnership that went way back with an agreement last year in September 2014 that will take us into the future. This is what, and again, that has a lot to do with social responsibility, with what we're saying in this agreement between the UN and JCI is that we want to motivate young people, we want to get young people to act and to voice their opinions and their concerns. And basically we want to invest in the future. We want these young people to have a leading role in the next phase of the development agenda. Now, as part of the outreach for the My World survey, we put together innovative tools to get the UN to the people. The UN, in some cases, is perceived as this thing that is in New York, and a lot of people with suits live there, and they discuss a lot of things. So we wanted to bring the UN to the streets, so people could also participate in the discussion. This is actually a video from, I won't show you the video, but it's a video from the first stop in the tour, in the tour of the UN podium, which was in the JCI World Congress in Rio de Janeiro back in 2013, when Chiara was your president. So that was the first stop. Then this podium has been in Hong Kong, has been in London, and has been gathering voices from people all over the world. We've done other innovative, we've found other innovative ways to promote the survey. We've put together creative adverts, creative visuals. This visual that you see here, this was in the Financial Times, in The Economist back in December last year. And basically, again, the goal is to influence the discussion on the next agenda. We've also featured My World through the social networks and by our partners. So again, we've received so much support from over 1,000 partners all over the world to make this happen. And we have not only collected votes, we have also collected stories. So it's not only, so My World is not only about voting, it's about capturing people's stories and why they feel certain issues are more important than others, and knowing about their background, basically their story. So this actually, what you're seeing here is part of a series of stories that we gathered, which is called Humans of My World. And we've gathered these stories from all over the planet. Now, very quickly, the results of My World, we have now 7.5 million votes gathered from 194 countries. Now, in terms of what the data is telling us, there you see the ranking of priorities, the global ranking of priorities. So what people are saying is that they want good education, better healthcare, better job opportunities, and an honest and responsive government. You see also the breakdown of the data, the votes by gender, by age, by level of education and Human Development Index. Now these are the results for Italy. In Italy, there's been over 6,000 votes that have been casted in the My World survey. And this is, again, the breakdown by gender. There is quite a lot of gender parity. But you see, the age, in terms of the age breakdown, you see that this has been an initiative where a lot of young people have participated. We're talking about more than 40% of the votes for My World in Italy are from young people. And this is the ranking of priorities. We see it's slightly similar to the global ranking, but note that the non-ISR responsive government is second, whereas in the global ranking is fourth. So it tells us that there's a concern there from the people in Italy. Again, this is a different breakdown of the results by age, by gender, etc. Let me tell you that this is all available on the website. It's on data.myworld2015.org, and it's real-time open data. So this gets updated as the votes are uploaded into the system. Okay, now this is what we've done so far. I'll try to be brief because I think my time is coming up. But we want to make it better, and we want to make it better right from the start, right from now, even before the agenda is agreed in September. And one way we thought that we could make this better, the My World survey, is by launching a challenge. Now this challenge, as you see there, the JCI logo is there, so we are co-branding, and again, we're partnering with our strategic allies, with our strategic partners, to get this going. Now the challenge, basically, what it represents is a call to action, which of course is something that it's one of the values of JCI, and prompting positive action at the local level. The message is very simple. Let's use this massive amount of results that we have now. As I said, we have over 8 million voices from all over the world, people that have engaged in this discussion. This data, like I said, it's all available, so let's use it. Let's communicate this data to the press, to the decision makers, to parliamentarians, to national governments, to ministers, to prime ministers. Let's communicate this data. Let's use it to have an impact before the agenda is agreed in September. And we can do this in a variety of ways. So we can organize handover events to decision makers. We can hand over the results of the global conversation of My World to parliamentarians, to local authorities. We can organize youth debates. We can create visuals with the data that we've gathered. You can do, there are no limits, basically, to all you can do. And now, the incentive, we have also developed an awards program to recognize the efforts of all the partners that have engaged with My World and that will contribute to this effort to have an impact in the agenda and to use the results. But of course, in order to reward people, we need to get nominations. So let me just ask you to visit peoplesvoiceschallenge.org. Check this out, all this information is there. You only need to submit a nomination to be eligible for an award. So it's very simple, and actually I'm sure that there are a lot of JCI chapters out there that have already enough material to submit a nomination. So it's just that in some cases we don't know. But there are loads of JCI chapters, I'm sure, that have interacted with the media, that have interacted with the decision makers at local level. So with that, you can already submit a nomination. And I think personally, it's only fair, and it's only fair that JCI candidates somewhere win an award because of the effort that has been put into this. And the reward actually includes an invitation to join us in New York in September for the General Assembly and to receive the award in New York. So borrowing again Chiara's line, let's dare to act, let's take action, let's get to work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's very inspiring to say to know how the United Nations is dealing with so great and important challenges. Talking about challenges, well, Italy and the Regione Lombardia have just faced a big challenge to host Expo here in Milan. And from what I've seen so far, I have to say that I think Regione Lombardia, Italy made an excellent job. So as an Italian citizen, I'm very proud of that. Presidente Cattaneo, Regione Lombardia has always been very interested in individual and corporate social responsibility, and is doing more and more to improve the support for those kind of initiatives. Also, I think that from what I've seen in the recent years, there was a great work for promoting also active citizenship. Could you please tell us something more about that? Thank you. Presidente Cattaneo.
Thank you. First of all, let me say my best wishes and congratulations to Junior Chamber International for this first century of life. 100 years, a great step and a great target. It means that the original idea probably has been a good one, because if an idea is able to go across the decades, year after year, generation after generation, it means that it is a good idea. And let me say welcome to Expo. Expo is not just a great kermesse, it's not just a fair. It's a place where we can discuss about very important items, the most important contents for our future. And this is one of the many opportunities to debate about it. So thank you to be here. I will speak now about individual social responsibility and corporate social responsibility. I prepared a draft in Italian, so let me switch in Italian, just to express better my opinion. Avete scelto un tema impegnativo, responsabilità sociale individuale ed impresa, esplosione di energie per cambiare il mondo. Cambiare il mondo. Quale ambizione più interessante che ci riguarda da vicino tutti di questa? Chi di noi non ha provato dentro di sé almeno una volta il desiderio di cambiare il mondo? Poi, soprattutto da giovani, questo è un desiderio che accende il cuore, ma è un desiderio che deve fare i conti con la realtà, e spesso nel fare i conti con la realtà il desiderio di cambiare il mondo si spegne. Allora abbiamo bisogno di luoghi dove lo teniamo vivo questo desiderio, che ci aiutano a tenerlo vivo e a tradurlo in qualche cosa che è realmente in grado di cambiare. Perché il mondo si può cambiare, ma a condizione che sostituiamo la nostra aspirazione giovanile con la capacità realistica di stare dentro la realtà. E questo mi sembra un luogo dove si può fare una riflessione su come cambiare il mondo a partire dall'altra parte del titolo, cioè la responsabilità sociale, individuale e d'impresa. Cominciamo da quella individuale. Credo che sia un fatto condivisibile da tutti che esista un'etica della responsabilità, cioè che il nostro comportamento individuale debba fare i conti con il problema morale, con il problema di che cosa è bene e di che cosa è male, e non solo di che cosa è bene o è male per me, ma di che cosa è bene o è male nel mio comportamento in relazione con gli altri. Questo è un fatto che chiunque abbia ricevuto un'educazione civile non può ignorare. Ma se è chiaro che esiste un'etica della responsabilità individuale, non è così chiaro se esista e come esista un'etica della responsabilità dell'impresa, della responsabilità sociale dell'impresa, perché per secoli noi abbiamo teorizzato che il comportamento dell'impresa non avesse bisogno di un'etica, perché era morale in sé. Laissez-faire, laissez-passer, è sufficiente che ognuno rincorra il proprio self-interest, ci insegnavano i filosofi morali inglesi da cui è nata l'economia politica classica, e quindi tutta concezione culturale che è alla base del nostro sistema economico liberale. Se uno persegue il suo interesse personale, naturalmente, magicamente, grazie alla mano invisibile, ottiene un risultato moralmente apprezzabile, che è quello di costruire il bene comune. È proprio così? L'esperienza di qualche secolo ci dice che non è proprio così, che non è sufficiente, che una riflessione su che cosa sia l'etica della responsabilità per le imprese dobbiamo farla. E io qui denuncio subito la mia matrice culturale, che è quella cattolica, quindi io sono personalmente convinto che sia proprio così, e trovo nella dottrina sociale della Chiesa molti spunti interessanti, qualcuno lo vorrei condividere con voi. Per esempio c'è un pezzo nella Caritas in Veritate, che è un'enciclica sociale del Papa Benedetto XVI, che dice letteralmente questo, e io credo che questa frase la si possa condividere qualunque sia la matrice religiosa e culturale che ognuno di noi ha. La giustizia riguarda tutte le fasi dell'attività economica, perché questa, l'attività economica, ha sempre a che fare con l'uomo e con le sue esigenze. Il reperimento delle risorse, i finanziamenti, la produzione, il consumo e tutte le altre fasi del ciclo economico hanno ineluttabilmente implicazioni morali. Così ogni decisione economica ha una conseguenza di carattere morale. Io credo che possiamo condividere tutti questo, e cioè possiamo condividere che l'impresa non è solo una macchina per fare soldi, non è solo uno strumento per creare profitto, che pure è una necessità ed è un indicatore della misura anche della moralità dell'impresa. Un'impresa che non si preoccupasse di fare profitto non farebbe il suo mestiere, ma non è l'unica dimensione. Allora, cosa vuol dire che l'impresa è un soggetto sociale e che per un'impresa fare profitti è un comportamento morale, è un comportamento virtuoso, ma non è sufficiente? Vuol dire riconoscere un fatto elementare nell'esperienza concreta, e cioè che lo scopo dell'impresa, oltre alla produzione del profitto, è l'esistenza stessa di quella comunità di uomini che l'hanno creata e delle relazioni fra di loro. Lo sappiamo bene, lavorando ognuno di noi dentro un'impresa o dentro un'organizzazione, costruiamo qualche cosa, il prodotto della nostra impresa, il servizio della nostra organizzazione, ma costruiamo anche noi stessi. Il lavoro ha questa formidabile natura di produttore di dignità della persona. Infatti, quando una persona non ha il lavoro, non ha solo un problema di natura economica, ma è meno se stesso. E questo vale anche per l'impresa. L'esistenza stessa delle imprese, in quanto comunità di uomini, ha un potere di costruire relazioni che fanno il bene della società. E questa dimensione deve essere riconosciuta in sé. Da questo punto di vista, tutte le volte che le imprese tengono conto del fatto che il profitto non è l'unico indicatore della loro efficienza e regolatore della loro vita, ma che ci sono altri elementi, per esempio la qualità delle relazioni tra gli uomini che lavorano nell'impresa, creano le premesse per una prospettiva di lungo periodo che funziona meglio e di più. Tutte le volte che lo ignorano, creano le premesse per distruggere se stessi. Questo non è astratto. L'altro giorno vi racconto questo episodio. Ieri ho fatto una lunga telefonata con un mio carissimo amico, mio coetaneo, col prima compagno di università, che l'altro giorno è stato licenziato dalla sua impresa. Dopo una brillantissima carriera, presa multinazionale, doveva rinnovare il contratto, sembrava un fatto assolutamente normale, e gli hanno consegnato la lettera dicendo che non gli avrebbero rinnovato. E lui mi diceva, questa impresa, lui lavora in un'impresa italiana che è stata acquistata da un gruppo multinazionale. Quando è stata acquistata, questo gruppo multinazionale ha introdotto il metodo americano. Quando non servi più all'impresa, vieni cancellato con una comunicazione che ti viene fornita nel momento stesso, e vieni accompagnato alla porta dalla guardia della security che verifica che tu non faccia copie di cose improprie del tuo computer e ti fa fare gli scatoloni e ti accompagna fuori. E lui mi raccontava come il direttore del personale che aveva introdotto questo metodo, che però era anche un suo amico, nel consegnargli la lettera di licenziamento si fosse messo a piangere e lui si fosse trovato nella condizione paradossale di dover consolare lui, che era stato licenziato, il suo collega direttore del personale, che era quello che aveva introdotto questo metodo dentro l'azienda. È possibile un fatto così se non affermando che l'impresa è di più della sua organizzazione orientata al profitto? No. Questo dice che è evidente che senza tener conto di qualche cosa che eccede la mera organizzazione efficiente e la mera bottom line, l'impresa non funziona. Questo è il motivo per cui è giusto che le istituzioni si occupino di corporate social responsibility, perché costruire imprese che hanno questa coscienza crea un tessuto economico e sociale più sano, che compete meglio e che regge di più nel tempo. Per questo motivo, nella seconda più breve parte del mio intervento, cercherò di dirvi cosa stiamo facendo in Lombardia. Sapete che questo tema è stato affrontato dal libro verde dell'Unione Europea nel 2001, il libro verde che si intitolava Promuovere un quadro europeo per la responsabilità sociale d'impresa. Poi è stato affrontato dalle Nazioni Unite nel 2003 con il documento Norme sulle responsabilità riguardanti i diritti dell'uomo delle compagnie transnazionali e di altre imprese. Poi più recentemente è stato affrontato nel piano d'azione italiano sulla responsabilità sociale. Anche in Lombardia stiamo facendo alcune cose, ve ne cito 4. La prima, abbiamo inserito qualche anno fa nello Statuto di autonomia della Lombardia, che è un po' la carta fondamentale della Regione Lombardia, la responsabilità sociale d'impresa. L'articolo 2, che dice quali sono gli elementi qualificativi della Regione Lombardia, dice: la Regione riconosce l'impresa nelle sue diverse forme come fondamento insieme al lavoro del sistema economico e produttivo lombardo e come strumento della promozione dello sviluppo territoriale. Ne agevola l'attività in costante rapporto con le organizzazioni imprenditoriali e sindacali, promuove la responsabilità sociale delle imprese. Quindi lo abbiamo scritto nella nostra carta fondamentale. Seconda cosa, abbiamo approvato una legge lo scorso anno, una legge per la libertà d'impresa e per la competitività, nella quale abbiamo richiamato a chiare lettere, l'articolo 3, anche lì nella parte dei principi fondamentali, questa idea, dove si dice che la Regione promuove e incentiva lo sviluppo della responsabilità sociale d'impresa e del rating di legalità. Che senso ha scrivere queste cose in uno statuto e nella legge? Io credo che abbia sostanzialmente un significato, quello di affermare che la società lombarda è una comunità libera e responsabile e che trova proprio in questo binomio tra libertà e responsabilità la sua forza, ma che in questa società il compito dell'istituzione è di riconoscere la forza dei cittadini e delle imprese, dando fiducia ai cittadini e alle imprese. Troppo spesso le istituzioni partono dall'ipotesi contraria, che i cittadini, le famiglie, le imprese non sono in grado da sole di perseguire interessi collettivi, ma hanno bisogno di essere controllate, regolate e indirizzate. Per fare un lungo excursus storico e culturale, ma dietro questa idea c'è l'idea di Hobbes, homo homini lupus. Siccome gli uomini non sanno costruire relazioni positive, ci vuole qualcuno, che è il leviatano, cioè il potere, cioè lo Stato, che regola questa relazione imperfetta. Noi crediamo il contrario, crediamo che invece la società può essere in grado di perseguire da sé obiettivi di giustizia e di costruzione utile a tutti. E allora bisogna investire, scommettere, dare fiducia a questa capacità. Questo però bisogna anche di essere declinato, e allora insieme alle leggi e allo statuto abbiamo previsto un programma operativo sperimentale sulla responsabilità sociale d'impresa, che poi si è tradotto in un protocollo di collaborazione con le camere di commercio della Lombardia, è questo qui, sottoscritto ad oggi da 12 associazioni di categoria, che noi auspichiamo possa essere quest'anno nella versione rinnovata pochi giorni fa, il 23 aprile, sottoscritto da tutte le associazioni di categoria, e contiene una serie di interventi concreti e anche 1 milione di euro di risorse stanziate per progetti di investimento che abbiano un forte impatto in tema di responsabilità sociale di impresa. Ecco, e questo proprio per dire che su argomenti come questi non basta avere una idea teorica corretta, ma occorre anche agire. Questo è il tempo in cui la responsabilità di tutti deve sposarsi anche con una capacità di azione concreta. Ma l'azione concreta delle istituzioni non può produrre risultati se non trova dall'altra parte come interlocutore una società pronta e consapevole. Per questo io sono venuto volentieri qui oggi, perché JCI rappresenta un pezzo di questa società pronta, matura, consapevole, capace di dare forza alle iniziative delle istituzioni. Grazie, auguri ancora e avanti così.
Grazie Presidente. Azioni concrete, concrete actions. Luca Donelli, responsible for community and international affairs of young industrials in Lombardia. What kind of concrete actions young professionals, young entrepreneurs can start in order to promote social responsibility, social corporate responsibility? Luca Donelli.
Thank you. Thank you and good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be here. My name is Luca Donelli and I'm in charge of international and European affairs within Confindustria Young Entrepreneurs. And I'm particularly pleased to be here today for many reasons. Most importantly, I'm very happy for the first time in World Fair history to have a pavilion dedicated to the civil society. And as much as the JCs believe in the role and importance of civil society, I'm also a true believer in the role and advocacy and power of the civil society when properly ignited and towards positive, constructive work. In addition, what I will focus in my brief this afternoon is a project called G20 Young Entrepreneur Alliance, and in many ways JCI has been a critical player, and this is true in formal ways, as we have the pleasure to have 2 of our 20 associations across the world that are JCI chapters, and namely it's Japan and Germany. And also because, and this is the way international relations work, it's also informal support that is critical in driving change across the world. And speaking with Chiara the other day, she told me that the very first moment the G20 Young Entrepreneur Alliance was started was in 2009 in the city of Stresa, which I understand you will be visiting tomorrow. And at the time, JCI Japan was one of the founding members with the Confindustria Young Entrepreneurs. And Chiara did the hospitality for the JCI Japan friends. This shows that this is in human and international relations, it's also the friendship and the human touch that is created that is critical to create the foundations for change. Having said that, I think the G20 Young Entrepreneur Alliance is an interesting example of 2 things, of how corporate social responsibility can be taken to the next stage, and how economic diplomacy can have a positive impact on things such as the strategic development goals. Well, when we started the G20 Young Entrepreneur Alliance back in 2009, we were sure we wanted to change the world, just we didn't know how. And we didn't learn it in a couple of days. It was a long-term process. What we started up with was basically trying to propose recommendations to the G20 governing bodies. Basically, the recommendations were done in a way and condensated in a final communique that was intended to tell them what we recommended as young entrepreneurs in order to favor youth entrepreneurship and youth employment. Well, the first reaction was, well, we suggest recommendations, but then we don't check and monitor whether A, they understand and look at our recommendations, and B, implement policies that do have an impact. So we asked a research center in Canada to monitor our recommendations and how they were handled. And this was already a relevant step in the good direction. But when we really made an impact was when we realized that as young entrepreneurs we are active by nature, and we stopped looking at ourselves at the G20 Young Entrepreneur Alliance as a think tank and started looking at ourselves as a do tank. What do I mean by that? I mean that not only we were making recommendations, but also we created a yearly action plan. An action plan which set for each country which actions we intended to implement to help the governments and the civil society to improve towards removing the most critical, in our view, matter that is youth unemployment and youth and the large proportion of youth that is not in employment, in education and training. The action plan is relevant for two things. One, because it shows that not only we gather to ask, but we gather also to organize and do things. That's the reason why we labeled our work as a do tank rather than a think tank. But also, and most importantly, because we take a significant responsibility in front of the other 19 countries and the other 19 associations of young entrepreneurs, and we intend and we are asked to report back every year about the process being made. For instance, on education, we, as Italy, as well as, and I was very pleased, as a European Union, we wanted to help the employability side of the schooling system as a leverage to favor further employment. And the employability side led to a large, what we called l'invasione pacifica, the Pacific invasion of the schooling system. And this basically grouped together all the efforts that the young entrepreneurs were doing across Italy under a single brand. And this collective movement and this collective momentum was able to build a bigger momentum towards favoring a greater share of information between the schools and the enterprises. And then the last level, and that's probably the reason why I was invited to speak to this panel and also to speak on this podium, is the connection we started and the dialogue we started to build with the United Nations. At first, I have to say that a couple of years ago, when a few colleagues started talking about the importance of the G20YA, not only to limit themselves to the G20 governments, but also to other international organizations. And I was quite skeptic. I felt, just like it was said earlier, it looked to me such a distant organization. And I think about 18 months later, speaking on this podium shows that I was again wrong. And what we did, not only we pushed My Work survey, the My Work campaign across our communities, and hoping to have contributed to some of those 7 million questionnaires being filled, but we also felt the need to start doing another thing. That is, we are not PhD students, we are not researchers, we on a daily basis we run our own companies, but we felt the need to start writing a position paper. And the position paper was an interesting exercise, because not only it was a literal literature review of existing literature on youth entrepreneurship and the role youth entrepreneurship plays in creating jobs, but also it was a way of looking at ourselves, at the way we do individual social responsibility and corporate social responsibilities in our companies. And just a few months later, having had Ellen Clark as a guest at our summit and having a strong endorsement of the work we have done was a way of showing that when in 2009 we wanted to start making a change and contribute to change, we didn't know how, but I believe we are on the right path, and we are extremely pleased with the cooperation we are having with JCI as well as with the various UN agencies that are working with us. I like to close my remarks by quoting Gandhi, who once said that we must be the change we want to see. And I'm convinced this is true. I don't know what's the next level we need to take this change to, but I close by inviting all the Italian young entrepreneurs to joining us to the G20 summit in Turkey this September, as a way to possibly get new ideas on bringing us to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Luca Donelli. Let's go back global, talking about JCI. Here we have 3 international speakers, representatives of JCI. We have our international vice president, Charlotte Mulder-Beisted, that I would like to invite to speak and share with us some examples of JCI's projects in individual social responsibility. Thank you.
I'll start by a quote. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. JCI simply as an organization represents change. A change for the individuals, a change for the communities, and for sure we want to make a better world. But how can we do that? I think that 100 years ago when we were founded, we actually started by doing impact. Impact in our communities, our surrounding communities. That is actually what we still believe in. That is actually still our mission. We want to create development opportunities that empower young people to create positive change in our surrounding communities. That is why we're here. So also, by saying that, I brought one project from my home chapter in Denmark that I want to share with you. Because in Denmark, companies right now are moving out of our country due to the high taxes. But a lot of the people just sit on their backs and watch. And their answer to this is, what can we do? For sure they cannot do anything if they will be sitting on their backs. So we really have to do some action here. So JCI, as we see in Denmark, the government is the one who has provided us with the framework that we as active citizens ought to be active in. But in Denmark we see a lot of citizens who are not active. They're going to work and they're going home looking at telly. That's actually the thing that we do in Denmark. So JCI here, we try to be active now. So we take an active part in filling out the framework that our government actually gives us. Because that is the framework that we will work within and actually are able to create sustainable solutions within. But to do so, we have to have the link to the government. We have to have the link to our city halls of getting what is actually needed in our surrounding communities. So in my local chapter, we started by asking the mayor to invite us in and have this talk, this brainstorm about what was actually the issues, the main issues in our community. And what we found out there was that young people, after graduating from university, they were actually moving. But where were they moving? They were actually moving after the companies. And the companies were moving out of Denmark. So what could we actually do? So we decided to create like a workshop within the universities to change the mindset of the students there. That we actually wanted the students to be able to create their own jobs when they were graduating from university. So they were actually not leaving Denmark, but actually creating their own jobs when they were done graduating the schools. So that is what we actually do in our lawn, in our university, in our city. we're actually working together with the universities of creating, changing their mindset. Because that is actually what JCI can do. So we have this very nice relationship with the university of making their mindset change, so we actually can change the way that we live in Denmark and be able to use the country and not, moving all of our citizens to other countries. So, as I said when I was a national president in 2013, please do not be afraid of failure. Be much more afraid of never trying. Be much more afraid of never moving your back. So that will be the final word for me. Please be active everywhere you go, because that is the solution to our problems. Take action and ask questions of the needs in your communities. That's where we're going to start. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. Well, just to remind you, JCI is present in over than 120 countries and 5,000 local communities, and represents a network of hundreds of thousands of young men and women between 18 and 40 years old. One of the biggest national organizations of JCI is in Japan. Here we have the World President and National President 2011, Mr. Kentaro Arada, who is actual chairman of the JCI Foundation. I know that 2011 has been a great year for JCI, with many great projects. One of them was the Global Impact Project for Africa, and I would like to invite Mr. Kentaro Arada to talk to us. Thank you.
Buonasera a tutti. This is one of two Italian words I just know, so I'm going to speak in English. Let me make sure before I start my speech, how many of you actually do understand English? Raise your hand, never shy. Of course, Japanese are shy, Italians never. Thank you very much. Well, now I'm actually not speaking in English. I'm speaking in Japanese English. So it's very, I speak slowly, I don't use difficult, complicated words in English, so I usually understand what I am talking. So, well, in 2011, at the beginning of that year, I visited New York City and met a representative, CEO of Global Compact, who was George Kerr. And at the time, I've heard, before that, let me make sure again. Have you heard about Global Compact? How many of you? Raise your hand. Global Compact. Yes. Just in case, Global Compact is a kind of moral code, disciplines for all companies around the world to protect. Of course, as a company, the profit is very important thing to my company, but the ultimate goals for all companies to improve the lives of human beings. So, in order to get competitiveness, for example, to against environmental sustainability, or to use children as workers, or to do some corruptions, it's nothing. Actually, nothing. The company is creating values. So it is important for all companies around the world to share one discipline. It is actually Global Compact. Labor, human rights, environmental sustainability, and also anti-corruption. But this is the simple explanation regarding Global Compact. At that time, in the beginning of 2011, only 2,000 companies actively committed Global Compact. 2,000 around the world. number is nothing actually. That we need to spread it. So I asked him, George Kerr, what is the target number? And he answered 20,000 companies, at least, the committee, the global compact, 20,000. Again, it's nothing for us, JCI. We have 200,000 members, most of them are like managers, leaders in the community or companies. So I promised him, that to reach the target number in a few years. So I asked, the national organization, local organizations, to help spread, promote global compact, the companies in each local community and national communities. And I believe, the number became more than 20,000 in the year Kiara-san served as a president 2013. Thank you very much, Kiara-san, actually, for your work. And we got the appreciation letter from UN Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, as well. So the Global Compact. Now I'm talking about CSR and ISR, individual social responsibility. My company has committed Global Compact since 2011, of course. Well, this program, Global Compact, actually has stimulated the mind for social responsibility among employees in my company. This is one example. You may know, you may not know, the last year, the Hiroshima city, which is in my local area, Hiroshima city was affected by sediment, heavy sediment disaster. The hundreds of houses were covered by soils and waters because of the heavy rain caused by climate change. Of course, the lots of voluntary work were needed to reconstruct the community. Well, this is the situation. This is kind of the tradition among Japanese companies. That we do just for fun. The annual trip. Just going picnic or doing barbecue or some short trip. The half of course paying themselves, but the another half is covered by company. So for that annual trip, I recommended one thing. In spite of doing some fun, what about going to Hiroshima city doing voluntary work? So one of the departments in my company took that idea. They went to Hiroshima city doing voluntary work. Half of the cost was covered by company, but another half was covered by themselves. Which means that they are paying money and they did do voluntary work to reconstruct the community. It's a big change actually, really big change in my company. As you know, the responsibility of managers or leaders in the company is to raise up the motivation or loyalty to the company. And this kind of voluntary work, let's say, the social responsibility works actually raise up their motivation and loyalty as well. I got feedback, the lots of positive feedback from my employees. One employee told me, I thank for the opportunity provided by the company. But without that suggestion, I never joined that voluntary work. By doing that, I learned many things. And I was very happy to serve for humanity. This is a comment from my employees. So I have noticed each individuals have actually strong intention, apparently or potentially. They have an intention to serve for humanity, to do some individual social responsibility works. So I can say this is a responsibility for leaders, for managers like you, to create some framework for each individuals to commit ISR activities actually. Well, in 2011, I suggested one project which is called Impact Africa. In this program, each individuals or small medium companies, like my company, send a donation via JCI World Headquarters to the African local community, actually to the local organization in African continent. And they are going to use that money donation to do some project. My company, they send just the small donation to the Togo, right? Lome Togo, and JCI Togo did a project relating to sanitary equipment in elementary schools. There are many problems like that in African countries. And again, it was in 2013, the Kiara-san served as JCI president. Thank you very much for your support. You were there, right, in Togo, Lome, to make it happen. Something like that, I got a report from Togo, and I share the information with my company members, and they are really much motivated. Again, we committed. We can do something, global project as well, because of this program, Impact for Africa. Without that kind of program, the normal individuals or small medium enterprises, we are not like Toyota or Panasonic. They can do anything in African countries or South American countries, but not for small medium enterprises. But using those kind of framework, we can commit global project as well. So. As a local organization of Junior Chamber International, I'd like to ask local organizations in Italy as well, please create this kind of framework. And please let the door open to each individuals to commit social responsibility global. You can do that. And not only you doing that, we have around 5,000 local organizations in the world. If we do it as one global team, we could change the world. So, as one global team, let's go impact the world. Thank you very much for your attention. Arigatou gozaimasu. Glad to meet you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arada. So JCI as a global organization every year is led by such visionary leaders like Mr. Arada. 2013 was a special year for JCI because it was the year in which Chiara Villani was elected as international president of JCI. Why it was so important? Because it was the first Italian ever and the first European woman to have led JCI, Junior Chamber International. As Mr. Arada was saying, Chiara Villani in 2013 has implemented many projects to support and promote individual social responsibility. So I think now we will give the floor to Chiara Villani to hear more from her.
Thank you, Paolo. All protocols observed. Let me first of all thank each and every of you who is in this room, despite we are in a sunny day at Expo. We knew it was pretty impossible to compete with the excitement of all the pavilions out there, and that's the reason why probably most of us disappeared this afternoon. We just hope that for this time people would be tired enough to be back in the room, but probably we really did an outstanding job here in Italy with this universal exposition. By the way, we know they will have the opportunity anyway to watch this roundtable, because for the first time ever, this is a pilot project, this roundtable is actually broadcasting live, streaming through, as you can see, Periscope TV. So it means not just in Italy, wherever in the world in this moment, whoever has a Periscope application can watch us, and will have the opportunity to watch us even later, because it will remain recorded. And let me thank immediately all the ones who gave the opportunity to JCI also to be so innovative from a media point of view. And because I'm saying that, let me tell you that I thought that in Italy maybe members have more opportunity to hear my voice than the voice of our guests. So when the fellow members of the 100 Expo team invited me to be part of this roundtable, I actually said I prefer to give the floor to the others, more time for them. But they reminded me my individual social responsibility. They said, you know what, someone should talk on behalf of the organizing committee. And when in Italy we were discussing about how to celebrate at best in our country the 100th anniversary of the JCI movement, we came to you asking for your opinion, and you told us, well, we can do it wherever, also in a beautiful place where we can put a lot of people, lock the room and there's nothing outside and everybody will be in. But you suggested us to go somewhere that could be meaningful. And actually, I must confess, I knew that when I was replying, well, actually, if you're asking for my opinion, I believe there's just one place in Italy in 2015 where we could really celebrate 100 years of the global leadership of active citizens, which is JCI, should be at Expo Milan 2015. And precisely should be at the first civil society pavilion ever in the history of Expo. Why? Because this is what JCI is about. Why? Because we always say that in order to create positive change, we need to unite all sectors of the society, government, business, and civil society. And this is what is represented by this panel of guests, government, business, and civil society. So this is the place. And I knew I was putting myself in trouble, so I will reply him by speaking my mind, because I know the JCI rule. You propose, then you do it. I hope there was an exception for a former JCI president, but no exception in JCI, not even for me. And so that's why I'm here. Also because, frankly speaking, they told me all the others are too busy with all the tasks, also in order to celebrate in the evening on the stage, so someone must talk, and that's life. You know, the one who works less is the one who speaks more. So that's why I'm here in front of you, but I would like to take the opportunity to thank really at least 4 active citizens of JCI who demonstrate a great sense of individual social responsibility to make this happen, which is of course our co-director Stefano Traversa, our co-director Gianfranco De Miglio, our development director Giuseppe Cotroneo, and the JCI Varese local president Paolo Bellotti. And can I ask you a big round of applause for that? They deserve, believe me, they deserve. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every of you who came here by demonstrating really huge sense of individual social responsibility. Because as you probably guessed, these are very, very busy people. And let me tell you frankly, Kentaro-san, who I'm proud and honored to say is really one of my best friends in the world, came here from Japan. He arrived this morning, and in 48 hours he will be back in Japan, where he has a company to run, not such a small company, as he said, but he came here just because we asked, and I didn't even need to grab my phone. I just sent him an invitation. If you can, and only if you can, and I know you can't, we would be honored to have you here. And he came, and that's part of the magic of JCI. Our national president, Emma, as she mentioned, she has her work, she has a daughter, and she's running JCI Italy this year. And we all know what it means to run an organization such as JCI Italy. But she immediately told, if you are ready to dare to act in order to organize the celebration in Expo, I will be part of it. So thank you for this. That was very, very meaningful for our country. And of course, our JCI president, Ismail Zadar, you know, I did what he's doing. And although he's always smiling, you can't imagine how tired he is. I can imagine it. Every 3 days, he changes countries, people, food, weather, whatever. But again, immediately when JCI Italy invited him to be here for these celebrations, he fixed in his agenda this meeting. That's a huge honor for us, a huge sign of friendship. We appreciate. Thank you, Mr. President. I guess I don't need to tell you how much the president of the Regional Council of Lombardy can be a busy man, because I believe everybody can guess it, especially in this period with Expo in our region. But Mr. President, this is, as it was recalled by Paolo Petrocelli, who is the Italian responsible for UN affairs, this is an ancient Lombardy house fire. So we could not invite someone else, if not you here, to talk about the values regarding individual and corporate social responsibility that are so related with this territory since the beginning, because we know Lombardy is also one of the 4 economic motors of Europe. Xavier, or Xavier, because it's Catalan, so it's Xavier. You know, we are at the final rush of the UN Millennium Campaign, and it came from UNDP. Instead of being back to analyze all the data that are arriving from all over the world for the greatest survey ever in the history of the world, they took time to come here and to share with us at what point we are. And we are working to make possible that not only today this podium can be here, but it can remain in Expo, to give the opportunity to the citizens, to the visitors of Expo, to let their voice be heard. And of course, our Vice President from Denmark, who came here yesterday exactly while the weather was not so sunny. But finally she did it, and she came with her mother and her daughter. You know, the efforts in order to come. Really thank you for coming. And you know, actually also Luca Donelli, his wife and his daughter, they are not here because they are in the south of Italy, where they were till, he was also till a few hours ago. He took a flight back to come here. Actually, he lives in Legnano, so next door compared to Bustarsizio, but we met in 2013 while we were traveling around the world because, you know, he was the Sherpa of the Italian delegation at the G20, and I was serving as JCI president, so really thank you also for being here. That sense of individual social responsibility. People that decided to do not the easiest thing, but the right one. Because as well as business, it's a focus on corporate social responsibility. in order to take care of the community where they are active, each of us must have individual social responsibility to take care of our stakeholders, because we all have stakeholders. Our family, our community, the environment, our organization, maybe a little bit if we are part of an organization such as JCI. These are our stakeholders. And it's our responsibility to do something that is not good just for ourselves, but also for the others. And it's a pleasure for me reminding it from this podium, because as we mentioned, this podium is the symbol of the voice of people. And yes, I was honored in Rio de Janeiro when he made his first appearance in the world from the JCI World Congress. And I'm also proud today because of what it symbolizes. The fact that for the first time in the history of humankind, United Nations are asking for the opinion of citizens. Not top-down, but bottom-up process. That's something that happens for the first time in the history. And being part of this is truly an honor for each of us. And by saying their voice, expressing their opinion, each citizen must feel the individual social responsibility of their vote, but also, as it was recalled before, then to take action. Because everybody is able to talk, isn't it? I'm a journalist. I lived for 20 years in a world of words. But if we really want to create positive change, we need to dare to act, to do the right thing instead of the easy one. Say so, I really would like to give the floor to our president who came here to celebrate with us this anniversary. Let me just tell you that the time is now, the place is here, and the call is ours. Let's dare to act in order, as our president says, to commit, connect, and care. Thank you very much.
So, I go. So, what an inspiring day. Here in Expo, in Milan, in 2015, in a very special year, a special year of celebration, a year that we are celebrating our 100 year of impact. And this is not just an opportunity for us, as Madam President emphasized, it's also an opportunity and a leading example for the future and future generations. With the live broadcasting now, with an interactive tool where you can bring your voice as well, direct by accessing Periscope, and you can start commenting. And also a great tool that records that in the future as well, we may start to build and discuss further about the discussions that we had. And today, we had the chance in this room to hear four speakers about a topic of Expo 2015, how relevant it is about ourselves and the future. They really made great. Personally, I was inspired, as well as remind me the process that I went through this 10 years membership of JCI that start with the speaking in front of an audience. Same excitement, almost nervous, and in one point about not remembering anything. You that was very excited and in high level. And also, after that followed the outstanding young persons of Italy, and really, really inspiring stories of everyone. I'm sure that you also felt that one. The success stories of young people and young people of this city, of this country, that will be a leading example for young people of the world. Because we are all talking about bringing young examples, bringing the voice of the youth in order to do something together in the future. And this is my 30th visit here in 4.5 months. And sometimes it happens that when I wake up in the morning, I forget where I am. So I have to check which hotel I am, and or I go to the breakfast room and then, oh, I recognize, yeah, this is Bangkok. Okay. And it's not due that I slept well, but it's due that traveling very frequent. And I'm lucky this morning, I know that I'm waking up in a city that's very important in the spirit, in Milan. So I will base my story on a journey of JCI that will be a last period, a short history that starts 2 years ago and will be building for the future. Because it was a period where our organization come out together really to think once more to be relevant with the need of the youth, to be relevant with the need of nowadays, and to align our organization in order to build further the commitment that started from the year one, the commitment of being active citizens, the commitment of contributing to the betterment of society. And this was the period that we said we have to be uniting all sectors of society. This is a period that without coming together with business world, with government, with civil society, like-minded partners, there is no opportunity to find a solution, a sustainable solution for long term. And this is the period that actually we implement inside a framework that now we are teaching to our members. Because we say to our members, as active citizens, wherever you go, first you have to hear the voice. You have to start to do need assessment, and later on, up to the need and up to the challenge that you feel in the society, you can build a solution and become an individual that is responsible from this solution and takes action by bringing new ideas, by bringing new innovative discussions and also new entrepreneurship and projects that become solution for this challenge. And please do that one with partnership. Go discuss with your government, discuss with other like-minded partners, discuss with business in order to come together, to unite together and to create impact together. Another important thing is to measure. I'll come back to this point that I believe is very crucial. So this was a recommendation of our strategic planning committee that say that we will be the organization that unites all sectors of society. I believe that this is the need, very relevant with what we have today. Today, we see that there is a gap, a huge gap between nations. There is a gap between generations. So we, as a young people, we are taking action in order to contribute to this process, in order to connect the people, nations, and generations. In this podium, you see that it emphasized to bring the voice in order to contribute and take the responsibility of the challenge and build something together. JCI in this first century, in 100 years, actually was very active in bringing the voice of young people, and also not just by bringing the voice, as well as by taking further responsibility in the implementation process. I see that there are 4 things that we can do as young people, and I'm talking on behalf of an organization that is active today in 124 countries, with 5,000 local organizations and 200,000 active members. Until today, that graduate around 11 million people. And when you check the projects that we did in this 100th year, you'll see that more than 1 billion people were somehow a part of these projects. This organization sees that in 4 levels, young people can be a part of betterment of society. The first level is by bringing their voice, by bringing their opinion, by bringing their thoughts, innovative ideas to the floor. And second level is a level where actually we can create awareness about the challenge that we see, about the challenge that we discover. This was the thing that starting from 2004, JCI was aligned with MDG, Millennium Development Goals, bringing and creating awareness about the main issues that we see about the world. And what was very active period for last 9 years, spreading the voice about development goals that United Nations adapted in year 2000. And the third level is actually the implementation phase. When you check today the project gallery that we just started to implement and started actively to upload, you'll discover that worldwide 10,000 active projects are in project gallery. 10,000 projects is active, living, and always has a result that is creating impact. And this is actually a commitment of young people for the future, because in this period we are contributing to bringing the voice, as was explained with the questionnaire of My World. As well, JCI was an active organization to bring the voice of young people to this questionnaire in order to discover really relevant things that we have. But also we bring our commitment saying that we will be the organization that implements, that takes action, that is there, not just talking, that is there and was there by implementing, starting projects that will be solution for this challenge that we have. But another thing, a responsibility that comes now and is spreading, is that we should be also a generation that follows and measures the result, that follows the commitment that we are caring about. So the motto of the year is Commit, Connect and Care, as was shared. Why it is so? Because commitment starts with an individual. There is nothing and no one that can commit instead of you. You commit from your heart, and this is an individual commitment. But you commit for something that you are caring about. You cannot commit for anything that is not relevant. You commit for the thing that you feel responsible. So you are committing to care. Actually, as an individual, you are committing to be responsible for the thing that you believe is important for yourself. And our organization was, and today is, and will be, the organization actually that connects these commitments with the things that we are caring about. So therefore, the topics about togetherness, about uniting, about bringing everyone in one platform is very crucial for us. And therefore, we are talking about connections that will be bridging the gap between generations. Just think about what's happening in the last 5 years in North Africa, in Middle East, in almost all places. You will see that the generation gap is spreading more and more. Young people believe or feel that they are not part of business world, they are not part of decision-making process, they are not part they are not heard. So actually, this is a need that we feel now we are actually bridging with our organization. One tool that we are implementing and spreading and believe that will be a good solution for beginning of this discussion will be the partnership summits. For last 10 years, in New York, we run summits where we bring young people in a platform to discuss together what are the challenges and how we are finding solutions. And in the last 5 years, we named that one as a Global Partnership Summit, because this was the place where we started for last 5 years to invite our like-minded partners like UN agencies, like the G20 Entrepreneur Alliance, like governors, like International Chamber of Commerce, like ISR, and they come to share the experience as well as the projects that they are doing. And now, starting from this year, we implement this partnership summit experience in regional and now in national level. I see that this is actually a good example of that one, and this is what we are encouraging in 2015 to national presidents. Last week in Ghana, we had Africa Middle East Conference, where we had representatives from more than 30 countries come together in a partnership summit of Africa and Middle East, discussed for first time about how we as a young people will be a part of a solution, how we bring our voice, how we be solution, as well as how we will be aligned the implementation of the projects that will be aligned with the post-millennium development goals, the sustainable development goals that will be announced in September 2015. And we will follow that one. Next week in Bolivia, we will have America Partnership Summit. The week after in Turkey, we will have European Partnership Summit. And Turkey is also host of G20 this year, as you emphasized. It will be a focus on employment, a focus on unemployment as well, and how as an entrepreneurship we can be a solution for this rising challenge that we have, especially in the area. And also, we will have the Partnership Summit in Malaysia for Asia and Pacific region. And this is a beginning that we start to bring the voices further. And we will be spreading that one to national and hopefully to international or to local level. Just imagine, if in 5,000 local communities we have leaders who bring everyone to discuss the things that we feel is relevant. There are two ways of doing business. One, either you align everything with the thing that you believe is true, or you listen to others and you align everything with the thing that is really needed. We align our organization to do everything that is relevant with the need in the community, in the need in the city, with the need of the young people. And I believe this will be a good beginning of discussion to connect young people with international world, to connect them with the solution, to be as a solution providers, and also to connect them as an individual socially responsible people. And JCI will be very active in following period to build further collaboration and partnership. I'm really honored that this year is a year of celebration, and the celebration is a period actually where you celebrate your achievement. And I believe the biggest achievement is that we are relevant with the needs, as well as we are building something that will be relevant in the future for the challenge that we have in the community. Therefore, I congratulate JCI Italy for this great initiative in a very special place with a really great partners here that share their stories. You'll feel that we are talking about same things. We are talking about coming together and being a solution for the challenge all together. This reminds me a proverb, something that comes from Africa, says that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go long, go together. Actually, this is what we are trying to do in this period. This is what United Nations as well is trying to do with Sustainable Development Goals. Would like to bring everyone, young people, and everyone from different countries together, really to go long and together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations for your commitment, and thank you to all the speakers. We are close to the end. I would like to open the floor for some quick and short questions from the audience, if there are any. Okay, no. So, well, let's give another and final round of applause to all our speakers. Thank you very much. E viva GCI e viva Expo.